HOA towed my truck at 3 a.m., so I legally turned their private lake into public access. I didn't yell, I didn't threaten, I didn't even knock on their office door. I just opened a folder, made 2 phone calls, and waited. And by the end of that week, the same HOA that towed my truck at 3 in the morning was holding an emergency meeting because their private lake was suddenly no longer private. It started on a Wednesday, the kind of quiet southern night where the air is thick and the crickets are louder than traffic. I had just gotten back from a late shift, parked my old F-150 in front of my house like I had for the last 9 years, same spot, same routine. No problem, or so I thought. Around 3:12 a.m., I woke up to the sound of hydraulics. If you've ever heard a tow truck lift something heavy in the middle of the night, you know the sound. It's metallic, slow, final. I looked out my bedroom window just in time to see my truck's back wheels leaving the pavement. At first I thought it had to be a mistake, wrong address, wrong vehicle. But then I saw the security car parked at the corner, Briar Lake Estates HOA hazard lights blinking like they were proud of themselves. By the time I threw on jeans and ran outside, the truck was already strapped. Hey, that's my vehicle. The tow operator didn't even look surprised. Unauthorized street parking. Order came from the HOA. Unauthorized. I stared at the empty stretch of curb in front of my own house. There were no fire hydrants, no red lines, no emergency markings, just pavement. I've parked here for 9 years. He shrugged. New enforcement policy. You'll have to take it up with them. And then he drove off with my truck. 3 in the morning. No warning notice. No violation slip. Just gone. The next morning, I walked into the HOA office. If you've ever been inside one of those buildings, you know the vibe. Beige walls. Motivational quotes about community standards. A fake ficus plant in the corner. Behind the desk sat Melissa. Perfect hair, perfect posture, perfectly rehearsed smile. How can I help you? You towed my truck, she typed. Something into her computer without urgency. Yes, Mr. Lawson. As of this week, overnight street parking is prohibited under Section 8.4 of the updated community guidelines. Updated when? Voted on last Friday. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a letter. I didn't get anything. She folded her hands politely. It was posted on the community portal. The same portal that logs you out every 30 days and sends notifications nobody reads. How much? $385, plus daily storage. For parking in front of my own house, I paid it, not because I agreed, but because I needed my truck. And while I was standing there signing the receipt, something clicked in my head, because I remembered something most of the newer residents didn't. No, Briar Lake. The centerpiece of the neighborhood, the private residents-only lake with paddle boats and sunset benches. It wasn't always theirs. 10 years ago, before Briar Lake Estates existed, that land belonged to a cattle farmer named Henry Calloway. When the developers bought the property, they split it into parcels, but they didn't buy all of it. The lake itself, that was classified as a natural water body connected to county-managed runoff channels, which meant something very specific under state law. Natural connected waterways can't be fully privatized. They can restrict amenities, they can restrict docks. But the water itself, if accessible through a legal right-of-way, it isn't exclusively theirs. And I knew there was a right-of-way because my property sat on the original access road before the subdivision went up, a road they paved over, a road they landscaped around, but never legally extinguished. I drove straight from the towing yard to the county records office, and I started digging. Old plats, original easement filings, environmental impact maps. And there it was, a 20-foot wide public utility and access easement, running from the main road, straight to the eastern edge of Briar Lake, never vacated, never amended, never removed, just forgotten or ignored. I called a land use attorney the next morning. His name was Richard Mendez. Quiet guy, precise. I laid everything out, the towing, the key. New enforcement policy, the easement. He adjusted his glasses and said something simple. If that easement is still valid, you have the legal right to clear it and access the lake, even if it cuts through HOA landscaping. Yes, and if the lake connects to county water channels. He nodded slowly. They cannot legally deny public water access. I didn't smile. But inside, everything shifted. I didn't send angry emails. I didn't post in the neighborhood forum. I filed paperwork. First, I requested formal confirmation from the county that the easement remained active. Then I submitted a notice of intent to clear and utilize the access corridor for lawful purposes. Certified mail. Recorded. Time-stamped. The HOA responded 3 days later. Letter from their attorney stating that any attempt to disturb community landscaping would result in legal action. Richard read it and shook his head. They're bluffing. Should I respond? No. Let them. 2 weeks later, at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, a landscaping crew arrived at my property, licensed, insured, with copies of every filed document. We cleared exactly 20 feet wide, straight through decorative shrubs, past a stone path, down to the lakes. Edge, no vandalism, no destruction beyond the legal boundary, just subtraction. Residents started gathering within minutes, phones out, whispers rising. What's happening? Is this legal? Greg, the HOA president, arrived looking like he hadn't slept. You can't do this. I handed him the county confirmation letter. It's a public access easement. This is a private lake. It's a connected, natural water body. His jaw tightened. You're doing this over a towing fee. I looked at him calmly. You enforced your rules. I'm enforcing mine. By noon, something fascinating happened. A man from outside the neighborhood walked down the cleared path with a fishing rod, then another. By Sunday afternoon, there were kayaks. Nothing wild, nothing chaotic, just public. The HOA emergency meeting happened that Monday. Word spread fast. Property value discussions, security concerns, insurance questions. Because once access is visible, it's difficult to pretend it doesn't exist. Tuesday evening, I got the call. Greg's voice was different now, measured. We're willing to reconsider the enforcement policy. That's good. If you're willing to suspend use of the easement. I didn't answer immediately. Full reimbursement of towing. Fees. Written apology. Policy reversal requiring warning notices before towing, and formal acknowledgement of the easement's validity. Silence. That's excessive. So was 3 a.m. Another pause. And future parking flexibility for corner properties. You're leveraging this. No, I'm balancing it. The agreement was signed that Friday. The HOA updated their policy. Mandatory 72-hour
Secure
warning
it now.
notices.
Yes, sir. Almost
resident
secured.
notification
Good. Check for damage. Report back.
Transparent
Understood.
voting procedures. They reimbursed every dollar, and I agreed to limit the easement use to occasional
You have to stop this dig now.
access
It's
rather
not
than
safe.
open
We have
public
permits.
posting.
We can't just
The
stop.
landscaping
Permits
was
don't prevent
redesigned.
accidents. We're
This
proceeding.
time,
This is the
legally.
spot.
The
Right
lake
here.
still looks
How can we be
peaceful in
sure the
evenings.
source is
The
questionable?
sunset still
Trust me,
reflects
we have
off
to
the
move
water.
now.
But something changed. Residents wave now. Not all of them. But enough. Because they saw what happens when authority assumes compliance without respect. Never raised my voice, never threatened, never insulted anyone. I just remembered something simple. HOAs operate on documents, so do property owners. And sometimes the quietest response is the most permanent one. Now I'll leave it to you. If your HOA towed your vehicle at 3 a.m. without warning, would you have fought it? Would you have let it go? Or would you have found the one rule they forgot about? Drop your thoughts below, because sometimes protecting what's yours isn't about revenge. It's about reminding people that rules apply both ways, and boundaries only work when everyone respects them. If you enjoy real HOA stories where karma actually shows up, hit subscribe. I post new ones every week.